So this is what is known as a podcast.
They make a couple of those.
There are at least several of them.
I don't know who makes them, but they're out there.
And generally, the thing about these podcasts is that they have names.
Yeah.
They are not like people names. Like this isn't Tom Johnson.
Yeah, this isn't John Smith.
No, it's got like almost more like a superhero name, something like the Protagonist seat.
Yeah,
that's what this is called. That's what we'll start calling this.
Yeah, we should call it that. This is we're gonna do another cold opening again because this is the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the end of the season. We are at the end.
We're done. We're done with all these shows. We had some good ones. We had some good memories. In case you didn't know, so I can bring this up now, so people aren't like, "Oh my God!" All our millions of fans in chat are like, "Oh my God, why is Ian sound so weird?" I am sick.
Yeah, it's gross, and I hate it.
Me too. I am stellar about it.
Yeah. Cue intro. And that was the intro.
Oh, yeah, we did it. We did it, guys.
It happened right there.
So, Goblin Slayer ended this week.
Goblin Slayer is finally over.
But don't worry, Goblin Slayer will return.
In the Avengers.
In the Avengers, Part 6, Rise of Goblins.
You know, I didn't feel like we had enough content to fill one season. I don't know how we're going to do a second one.
Honestly, that surprised the shit out of me. Cause
I hope he's doing actual adventures.
Me too.
Because he's like, at the end, hey, I think I might want to be an adventurer.
I haven't made up my mind. I fucking, like, in my head, I sound a little bit like the Joker. So just, like, picturing...
you kind of do. I haven't made up my mind.
Picturing Heath Ledger in, like, the interrogation scene, just like, I haven't made up my mind. But I was thinking of becoming an adventurer, Batman. An adventurer.
In this episode, they finish off the goblins because, of course, they fucking do.
Yeah, and Goblin Slayer fights the Goblin Lord.
And he gets the shit kind of kicked out of him, but that was his plan all along.
Don't worry, that was my plan the whole time.
And he has Priestess use Protect, which is like her holy wall spell, and she uses it twice and almost sandwiches the Goblin Lord in between them.
And then Goblin Slayer slits his fucking throat. After the Goblin Lord is like, I promise I'll never do it again.
And then it does a montage of just goblin rape.
And in my head, I was like, that's bullshit. That is the most bullshit I've ever heard.
And then he gets his throat slit by Goblin Slayer, because of course he fucking does.
Yeah, because, I mean, where else were you expecting the show to go?
And they all beat the goblins. Like the Guts guy and the Paladin lady beat their big goblin, and the Ku Klane guy goes and he beats his goblin.
He beats his solo. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then they all go back to town. Everyone's celebrating, drinking. A couple of the people are pissed off that every single goblin was only worth 1 gold, even
no matter how big.
Even the champions and the Goblin Lord. And Goblin Slayer finally takes off his helmet because that's what Priestess requests of him.
And everyone's like, holy shit.
Oh no, he's hot!
It is a spectacle. Everyone is like, oh my God, look at Goblin Slayer's face.
He's fucking handsome.
He is the most beautiful man ever.
And we don't really get to see his face. We see like his...
He's got like 2 scars on his cheek.
Yeah, we see like beneath his nose.
Yeah,
and his hair.
We see the bottom half of his face. So after that, we just have to kind of assume he's probably pretty handsome.
And he will return, and they do that at the end all Avengers style.
Yeah, it was cheesy
and
as fuck.
Yeah, again, do we need it?
I don't think
Do you
so.
think we need it?
I don't.
I don't think we needed a second season. I feel like we already stretched what we had.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea where they're going to go because there's not like even the A plot wrapped up where it shows like the big heroes who killed the fucking demon lich or whatever.
I could see it being interesting if they decide to make him an actual adventurer, but I don't think that would go very well just because the theme of the story is he's Goblin Slayer. He's just a guy
goblins.
Yeah. Otherwise you're just doing just a regular fantasy series then if he's just doing actual adventuring.
And
the gimmick, well, it's already kind of worn off that it's based around the gimmick.
And he's gonna be the Goblin Slayer who's going around not killing goblins. So like, what is even the point?
Yeah. I don't think there needs to be more.
I do not either.
I'm solid with what we have. I already think we were pushing it. I think it's fine.
It is fine.
I don't know. If someone was like, hey, recommend me a good fantasy series, probably this would not be the first to come to mind.
I would pick Overlord. Or...
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think the first couple of episodes are really good just because it kind of explores the gimmick a little bit.
And then it doesn't. It kind of like leaves that for a while.
Yeah.
It's not...
We kind of like abandon it and just start doing other shit. And there's a lot of episodes where they're kind of just fucking around in town, which should be more endearing than they are, but I really don't feel like... I don't feel like people have strong characters.
No, I cared more about the characters during, like, this final Goblin War battle.
I liked Goblin Slayer and Priestess. I feel like Elf, Lizard Man, and Dwarf are just kind of... They're really one note, and it's really... It bothers me.
Yeah, they are two-dimensional characters who are essentially just there to serve their whatever purpose they need for the plot. Like, oh, Goblin Slayer needs backup for this one fight. Here,
That's all they exist for.
We made some cutouts. Have some cutouts.
And then Elf just exists to be another member of his harem, and Dwarf and Lizard Man have just so little personality to me that it's just... They're just there for combat purposes to give them tactical options.
All I know about them is their preference in one certain type of food or drink.
Yeah, that's all I know either.
Dwarf likes to drink, Lizard Man likes cheese, and that's it. That's all I know about them as characters.
Yeah, they're not very interesting.
No.
I do feel like this show is like a D&D campaign in the sense where, you know, your D&D characters aren't as fleshed out as you think they are.
Yeah.
Where, yeah.
All their backstory is in their head, and no one ever really says anything or actually explores it.
Yeah, and you just know everyone by what they are. That's the fighter, that's the cleric, that's the... archer. That's just what they do. That's what they are. Ian's coughing, and it's just disgusting.
I think
I'm so fucking pissed over here.
I think I'm actually dying.
I dragged him here. I'm like, I'm not doing the fucking finale alone.
I think I'm actually dying. That one felt like... Oh, let me pull out...
If I get sick because of you, I'm going to be pissed.
If you're fucking sick because of me, it's because of last Christmas.
Last Christmas, I gave you my cold.
The very next day, you sneezed in my face. That's good shit. That is good quality content.
Yeah. Next week we'll do sort of we'll do like a more of a final thoughts on everything when.
Yeah, like a little wrap up.
Yeah.
Our wrap up awards ceremony.
But yeah, for just my quick thoughts on Goblin Slayer, I think it's okay.
It is fine.
It's not great. It's not terrible.
Adequate.
It's adequate. It is very average. Teetering on slightly below.
Yeah, it hangs in the balance.
It is slightly below average, actually.
Yeah, because it does have that steep dip.
I only like the first couple of episodes and the last couple.
It is very weak. It has a lot of very weak parts.
It has a fucking recap episode when we don't really even need it.
Yeah, episode 12 is a fucking recap. What?
Yeah. And
why? I don't get it, Goblin Slayer. I don't get it. Anyway,
you know what? You know what I kind of get? Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
I kind of get this show as well.
I think it's getting a movie, I heard, which is why it feels like it doesn't really wrap up everything.
I could see that.
Because the last girl, Shoko, I think...
Shoko
Makinohara.
Makinohara,
yeah.
Like
they don't really address her thing, which I think is, that's going to be the movie thing. But anyway...
I kind of suspect that she was not real all along.
Kaide is now her old self before the show ever started.
She regains her memories, and the Kaide that we have known and grown to love and feel slightly creeped out by is now gone.
Yeah, and I commend the show for sticking to that. They didn't where as much as it hurt Sakuta, I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure it'd be better off if she actually gets to be the person she's supposed to be instead of this sort of shell of a human being.
And I'm glad they didn't do like a fusion thing where I was like, but I still remember and have aspects of her personality.
Nope.
No, but she is just a different person. She's a literal different person.
Yeah, she's more of a normal sister instead of the other Kaide who is basically your anime Emoto.
And this crushes Sakuta.
Which is understandable because,
the sister he's grown to know and care for 2 years is just one day suddenly gone.
Different person. I did like that scene at the end, though, where you see she's, reading the diary the other one wrote, and she looks pretty embarrassed, since, oh, man, this is a lot of lewd stuff I was thinking about my brother.
That's horrifying. I would be horrified if I just woke up one day and they were like, oh yeah, you were a different person for 2 years. Here's your journal with lewd thoughts on your sister. I'd be like, what the fuck? I would burn that. Burn it. No one sees it.
No, that never happened.
It's gone.
And he ends up, because he's so crushed by it, he kind of collapses, but then he sees Shoko. She shows up.
And his chest scar opens up again,
and she helps him sort of feel better, and then Mai comes by, and
we before Mai comes by, I feel like this is an important aesthetic for the show. We get a scene where he is in the bathtub, and
and she's
Shoko
reading his sister's diary.
Yeah, and she is standing outside the door, basically talking him through his struggles.
Which is what he does to everybody else, yeah.
Exactly. I feel like that's a very important aesthetic to go over.
And Mai is sad because she finds out Shoko was there, and she feels bad because he originally thinks she probably thinks I'm being unfaithful or something. No, she's just upset because she wanted to be the person that he leans on in his time of need.
She wanted to be his Shoko. She was disappointed that she wasn't. And I thought I liked that. I was like, that seems like a real thing.
Mai is a really great character. She doesn't have unrealistic reactions to everything.
I know. She doesn't freak out at the smallest things and make really weird judgment calls.
She doesn't force drama into anything.
No, she's just
if anything, she helps kind of get rid of it.
Yeah. Mai is really good. I like the characters in this show. I liked watching them develop.
Yeah, and I guess I would watch the movie if it was easily attainable, which
I would.
Everything is.
Everything should be.
Everything can be.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
But yeah, it was a good show.
I liked this show a lot. I'm glad
it had good characters.
I'm glad we stuck with it, even though it had kind of a slow start.
Ironically enough, I disliked Mai's arc, even though I really like Mai.
Because, I don't know, man. It's just like her and Sakuta together, watching them interact is just...
I think I almost like seeing her help with the other arcs than I did seeing her in her own.
Yeah. She's a good supporting woman. That's a good show. Kind of like JoJo.
Yeah, now it's time to talk about good supporting men.
There's a lot of good supporting men.
So in this episode, we make sure we stop the man in the mirror.
This episode had a lot of stuff that blew my fucking mind. And I don't know if it was because I was on cold medicine or if that's just the way JoJo is written. Because that's the way a lot of JoJo is written.
Yeah, Ian got infected by purple haze.
I got infected by purple haze, and then I had to turn a brick that had the virus in it into a snake and then make an antivirus out of it.
I feel like JoJo
Spoiler
has gotten
alert.
more ridiculous to the point where, at least in part 3 during stand battles, I could, like,
You
somewhat
can-
tell what's going on. I feel like I'm completely lost until they just explain it at the end now.
Yeah,
Because everything is so just batshit crazy.
I was lost as fuck. Because, like, Abakio runs to the dog mural, and then he gets followed by... The dude's name is Illuso, and his stand is Man in the Mirror. And it's
Man
like...
in the mirror!
It's, like, not even a little subtle. But he gets followed by the bad guy, and then the bad guy pulls him into the freaking mirror, and then they have a... Well, hold on. He shatters the mirror, and then the bad guy pulls what he thinks is Abakio into the mirror, but then Abakio is like,
And he actually pulled in Moody Blues, disguised as Abakio, because people do things really fast in JoJo.
People do shit so fast. And then he fought, and then the bad guy was like, well, I'll make sure that only half of you comes through, and then I'll send the other half of your stand through.
So it's like half Purple Blues, or Moody Blues, and half Abakio.
Yeah, they never explain why they fuse instead of just being like two separate halves flopping around. They just kind
Because
of...
it looks cool.
It does actually look really cool. And then he cuts his hand off, but he cuts his Abakio hand off in the mirror, which means that in the real world he cut his Moody Blues hand off and then had the Moody Blues hand deliver the key to Giorno. What the fuck?
Yeah, everything starts getting real crazy at this point.
Like,
Everything was already crazy, but now it's just like,
I could kind of understand most of the stand battles up to this point. But, like, I don't even think I understand the fundamental rules of this battle.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because, like, I guess technically... well, I don't know. Because then... I was going to say, I guess technically cutting off the Abakio hand in the mirror, it would be reflected to be the other hand in the real world. But then if that was the case, then he just would have cut off his other Abakio hand. Because his other half in the real world would have been...
It made no sense, but it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool as fuck.
Yeah,
like,
I don't care that none of this makes any sense, and it's all really stupid. It's just cool.
The fight is actually amazing.
I don't question it. I don't try to add logic or reason to a JoJo battle.
Yeah. Speaking of JoJo, Giorno shows up.
Giorno figures out how to beat the bad guy.
Because he is the JoJo, so of course he figures out how to beat the bad guy. Basically, he's like...
Yeah, he gets himself dragged into the mirror world after purposefully infecting himself with purple haze.
Which you might be saying, but that infects the body in 30 seconds. Wouldn't that kill him fairly quickly?
This is a long 30 seconds.
This is like a 15-minute 30 seconds.
Yeah, because JoJo people can do things really fast, but then it takes really long for something to happen.
I am 90% sure in the span of Giorno going into the mirror, infecting the bad guy, and then the bad guy ending up dead from the virus, Giorno is still fine. Like, it's still just in his hand.
Yeah.
Actually, that is exactly how long it takes.
Yeah. And then he had a snake. Well, he had Golden Experience turn a brick into a snake so they can track him on the outside, so they would know where to have Purple Haze punch.
Because he turned. It looked like someone had taken a brick, drilled a hole through it,
and put the snake through it.
The snake through the hole, so that the snake could move in the outside world, but they would see the brick part as just like a moving brick. And that's how they were like, that's how Purple Haze is going to take out this bad guy. And it is. And then it also turns out to be the way that Giorno synthesizes an antidote.
Yeah, because the snake has antibodies or something, so he puts the antibodies in himself.
He took the brick that was hit first by Purple Haze so that it had virus molecules on it, and he made the snake out of it so that
Even though they die like seconds later, it was like mentioned that the Purple Haze virus doesn't live very long. Exactly.
It burns away in the sunlight. But
JoJo doesn't care about its own rules that it sets.
Yeah. This one, for once, felt like we actually can't... we made this guy a little bit too powerful and we can't figure out how to beat him. So fuck the rules. Because also, he has Gold Experience. Kill the snake and put some of its blood into Giorno.
I have no idea how the fuck Golden Experience works. Like, it seems to do a different thing whenever it's needed to do a thing.
It somehow turns the blood of the immune snake into an antivirus.
Like Crazy Diamond, I understand it. Star Platinum, bullshit ass pull at the end, but I still get it.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. It's just whatever it needs to be.
It can kind of turn things into living things.
And also reflect damage.
And also it reflects damage. And also, I guess it can synthesize cures.
It can do a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of bullshit. But it's great. The stand battle is fucking awesome.
But yeah.
Stand battles are always awesome.
They ended up beating the guy because he gets hit by Purple Haze's virus and he melts.
Yeah, dude melts on the sidewalk.
And they win, and they're all basically collapsed besides Fugo, and they get the key that the boss requested that they get.
Oh yeah, and Abakio is now missing a hand.
They'll figure that out.
They'll fix that.
Yeah, they'll fix that.
They'll use some Gold Experience.
Gold Experience probably has some bullshit that just fixes that.
It probably does.
It's the Swiss Army knife of stands.
Also, I like how terribly hidden this key was. It was literally just like stuck into a crack in the floor. It wasn't even like hidden under the dog mosaic or like under a floor
I thought they would have to
tile.
like smash it or something.
Nope. It's just there is a crack in the floor and there is a ruby jeweled golden key in there. So have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, JoJo was fine, and JoJo's not going anywhere. But you know what we got next?
Fucking Double Decker. Something that brings
the last episode.
It brings me great pain to say goodbye to this show because I love it so much.
Basically, this episode, the plot was everything went according to Doug's plan.
Doug is Joseph Joestar. Like, this is a full-on ass Joseph Joestar level, like, you did exactly what I wanted
Basically,
you to do.
Brian Cooper walked into Doug's trap.
Doug wore a bulletproof vest because, you know, he is a police officer.
Yeah, that would have been smart if you're going to go into a military facility where everyone is likely armed.
That's probably what I would have done too.
And the idea was to inject Brian Cooper with what they told him was a bullet that was going, or a syringe that was going to take away his power, but instead it was just adrenaline. But he thought it was going to make him lose his power, so he would have injected himself with Anthem in order to circumvent that. But that's what they wanted, so they can use their special eye powers and bullets on him.
The idea was to basically push him to go into Anthem Overdrive.
So then they could give him his medicine.
Time to take your medicine. And he does. He falls into it just face first. And it's amazing. It's so good.
And then
And Doug's not dead.
Yep, Doug's not dead. Yuri's not dead. No one's dead.
Yeah, no one's fucking dead.
Literally, Zabel isn't dead.
Zabel's not dead.
Literally only Brian Cooper.
Yeah, there's a moment at the end where Brian Cooper, who they failed to kill, is running through the facility, and he's like, I'm gonna launch this fucking rocket and bring my allies here. And then Victor Zabel just ambushes him, and he's like, I'm not mad at you because you betrayed me. I'm mad at you because you wasted food. And then he
was like, isn't it too much to ask for every member of the main cast to survive?
Yeah, he actually says that. That is in-universe dialogue that this man said to another man before blowing his brains out.
And everyone has to escape the facility because it's still going to blow up from inside. And as Doug and Kirill are running out, Kirill gets real meta where he's like, yeah, me and Doug, we're real heroes. We're walking out now. Then the theme song starts to cut in, and
it does.
He's
it's
like,
so good.
And he's like, you know what? I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero yet. But you know what I am? I'm a sidekick. Doug's sidekick.
Doug's sidekick. And then, right as they are about to escape, there's an explosion.
And Doug gets covered by some of the rocks.
He is once again stuck.
And you think, oh, this is going to be the end of Doug, but then it blows up and it launches him at the helicopter.
Yeah, they have like a whole section of dialogue where Doug's like, I'm not a hero, but you guys need to always remember me. And then it just blows up and blows him into the freaking...
But yeah, Kirill catches him, and Yuri's driving the helicopter, or flying the helicopter, and it turns out she never actually died, because that scene where Travis came out from her maintenance closet with coffee all over him,
which was something I was highly suspicious of at the start.
Yep, turns out he spilled coffee on her. She got real mad, so he deactivated her and switched her out with her double.
Yep, and did the highly illegal act of copying her files onto OneDrive.
And then that one blew up.
So technically she didn't die after all.
And
the end.
Everyone is kind of pissed at him for it.
Yeah, actually.
Like, Max, she thanks him since Yuri's still alive and she's glad, and then she punches him in the gut. And as he falls over, the other girl who speaks like this...
With the whip?
With the lisp, takes his checkbook out, and she's like, hey, Travis is treating us all tonight.
And when they see Travis, before he explains exactly why Yuri is still here, we see that he has bowed so deeply his head is buried in the concrete. And that's when the narrator's like, since Travis is currently head deep in concrete, I will explain what went on.
And they ended up, turns out, Anthem's still around, so 7-0 didn't get disbanded, and they're all still working at it. And,
we get like
Derek now just kind of has tables outside since his
bus is gone. So it's just like a literal hole in the wall.
And then it shows space, and you see the generals talking about how we lost contact with Brian Cooper, but he was the weakest of the 144 generals.
Oh, God. Just the tropiest dialogue ever. I love it.
And then after they were saying, then it's like comes up with a to be continued, but I'm pretty sure that was a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we've still got 144 more genetic soldiers. And the narrator's like, that's too many.
Yeah.
This is good shit.
And that's the end of Double Decker, Doug and Kirill.
Goodbye, Double Decker. You will always live on in my heart.
You will always be remembered as one of the best shows of fall 2018.
Yep. We are immortalizing you here, even though no one else will. Because that's what we're here for. We're here to bring you the real good shit.
We're
not
here to
like
sit.
fucking.
We're gonna sit in this chair forever. We will never graduate.
Not like fucking Gridman that everyone's talking. Like, what the fuck? Gridman wasn't even that good.
Fuck with Gridman. Fuck you, Trigger.
You know, Radiant.
What are you doing next season, Trigger? So I can get mad at that.
I don't know. It's probably a mecha anime featuring boring characters and a plot that makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's dumb. You know what?
Unless it's good, then hey, nice job. You turned it around.
You did it. Congratulations. We won't speak too far ahead.
Also, the final show of this season that's finished that we watched.
Oh, that does not feel good on the vocal cords.
Iriduku, The World in Color.
And it is now.
It is in color now.
She did it.
It was in color for us the whole time, but it is now for her too.
Yeah.
So they're all sending Hitomi back, and they're all saying, kind of, giving her each their fond farewells.
I like how Chigusa's was just, hey,
Smile
you should
more.
smile more. It makes for better candids.
And then he just gives her a high five, and then that's it.
Yeah, that made me happy.
And she is about to leave without saying anything to I. And
it is like the Theirs is like the most forced. It was cool having you around. Now let's give a hearty handshake and part ways forever.
And then they get teleported to this kind of weird other dimension.
Because it turns out that suppressed emotion fucks with magic pretty hard. And it causes like a whole storm. And it looks cool. It looks really cool.
And it turns out that after they go in there, they decide to, say their true feelings towards each other, and it helps her see color.
Yeah, she lifts the veil of depression.
Turns out love cures depression, even though they immediately have to leave each other.
Yep, even if you can never see each other again, because I'm pretty sure he dies in the 60 years.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that scene, but anyway, she finally sorts it out with him. They both tell each other that they love each other, and she gets sent back to the future. And she's sent back right to the moment that she was sent back. And it's neat because they're kind of waiting back there, and Kohaku gets a text from herself in the future telling her Hitomi made it back safely.
That was weird shit.
And
we get to see the bus driver again.
Yep, the bus driver again.
And he's like, hey, take your change, because there's one piece of Pocky left.
And after they end up, she goes to the future. Her grandma digs out a time capsule that they buried.
Because now there's like this weird understanding, which must have made it kind of awkward. Because Kohaku raised this person knowing that, like, this is someone I met in my youth, technically, but now I am raising them.
This is my friend from high school that I helped raise.
And I need to give no inclination, no prior like thoughts that we might have known each other.
And then after she calls her grandma again, she's like, "You can just call me Kohaku."
It's fine. It was weird in those like 17 years before. And there's a time capsule, and we learn about her favorite book.
Yep, turns out her favorite...
it touched my feels.
She looks at her favorite book, that the only book when she was a kid that she could see in color, and she looks at the name of the author, Yuto.
She assumed that she could only see the colors in it because she used to read the book with her mom all the time. But no, it's because... fucking Aoi wrote that book. Oh my! And then there's like a little scene where he
wrote her favorite children's book.
There's like a little scene where he gives her the book, and it's like, oh my god!
And every character in the book is based after all the other characters.
All of her friends, which is like a real weird meta moment, because it's like, technically, now I know that all of these characters are based off of people I knew. but I didn't before.
Oh, it's a neat realization. Like, that was always going to happen.
And something I thought was interesting as well. All of the book, they go through the book and they actually read the book.
Yeah, each of them is like based after a different animal, and they all read their own lines.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. That made me happy. And that whole scene made me happy. And then she she's like, I want to see Mom. And then she like visits a grave. And then she makes friends at high school.
Yeah, because she opens up finally to people, and she joins the Magic Photography Arts Club, and it's still going there. They're using old-fashioned. This is 2078,
and they are using the same cameras that they used to use.
And those were kind of like dated even then.
That's dedication.
That's really going back. That's like if we had a photography club at our school, and then we're like, yeah, we got those old-fashioned cameras. We got to sit still for 20 minutes.
Hold on while I load the tray with the flash powder. This episode warmed my heart.
I feel bad because the opening scene is just like the quick, right as the episode opens, it's and he kind of monologues for a second about missing Hitomi, and we just kind of see him alone just
being sad.
And then I'm thinking, that was just the rest of it for him.
Yep.
That's kind of sad.
That's it. He's done.
It's like, hey, the girl I like won't be born for another 60-something years.
Hope I make it that long and can at least say hi.
Yeah. And that's a best I'm gonna get is hi.
Oh, you were right. Kohaku marries Bookman.
Yep. I the second I saw that part, I'm like, yeah, that dude was Grandpa all along.
As soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, he's probably right.
Yeah. So the guy that ran the bookstore ended up being Hitomi's grandpa.
Figures.
And yeah, that was it.
I like that show.
It was a sweet episode. Sho never figured it out at the end. He never figured out Asagi liked him. Because we never get to catch up with anybody.
Yeah, that's true. We only really follow Hitomi, so we don't know what happened.
Although I guess that's nice, just in the sense where you can leave it up to the imagination.
Yeah. I like to imagine that Sho is still incredibly stupid.
He
and
doesn't
never
know.
Figured it out.
They're at the same nursing home, and he just doesn't get it. And she just hasn't worked up the balls to tell him.
For 60 years. No, Kenny, I am not dying. At least I don't think so.
For 60 years, he never figured it out.
Yeah. I like the meta of Clueless Sho. That makes me happy.
But yeah, this was a nice final episode.
Yeah, it was. Well, I didn't end with this show. We ended with God. Well, that's an interesting thought. Technically, the last episode we watched was
the first one we talked
about. And then...
But on the show here, we end on Iraduku.
And it is heartwarming. It's just so nice. I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss these shows.
Yeah, this was... We said it before, but this was a good season. A lot of stuff I liked. And you know what? Some of these shows I'm like, I'm probably not going to think of that in the future. I actually thought that was a nice ending of Iraduku. I'll remember, even if I mostly forget the show, it'll be like, the one with the girl, she can't see color, but at the end it was like their love interest wrote her favorite childhood book.
Yeah. I will probably at least remember bits and pieces of most of these shows.
Yeah.
Honestly, probably not. Well, I don't know. I might remember the part where Goblin Slayer has to fuck a virgin to come back to life. I might remember that.
Yeah, I'll definitely remember the first episode since that was a tone setter.
Yeah.
And I'll remember all the middle part. I won't remember any of the middle parts.
And then everything after that is just blah, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, good season. Excited for winter 2019.
Me too.
And then next week we'll kind of give awards for... We'll have to make the categories. There are no categories yet.
We'll quickly scribble up and give out awards.
Yep, and we'll talk about, obviously, because there's going to be a new JoJo next week. We'll talk about JoJo, then we'll kind of give our parting thoughts on every single show that has aired, which includes like the ones that ended previous week, like Zombieland and Miss Vampire.
Yes.
And then we'll kind of give out some awards. We don't know what's gonna happen. We know what those awards are gonna be. You know.
No spoilers.
And then the week after, you'll see us in the start of the Protagonist season 2.
Season 2.
But I'm not gonna call it that because that would get kind of tedious. So I'm just gonna call it It's gonna be like Protagonist Seat Winter 2019 Episode 1.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo Boogie Pop.
Electric Boogie Popaloo.
Electric Boogie Pop.
Oh man, we already have a title for the first episode.
Electric Boogie Popaloo. And you'll join us next week, and I'll be sick.
Yeah, probably.
And then Ian will be healthy, so he's going to carry that one.
Yeah, I will do my best. Also, next season, feel free to look for us on iTunes and
maybe
Google Play Store, potentially, depending on how much I get that figured out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
And on
it's a hard maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna try really hard. I think I've got it set up. I think.
But you can always find us on our Twitter at Protagonist Seat.
Or right here at this place.
Yeah, you're already here. We
YouTube,
might as well.
Feel free to subscribe or leave a comment or like it. If you like us, leave us a note that says, "Do you like me back?" Check yes or no.
Will you like us enough to go back in time and write our favorite children's book?
That's dedication.
Yeah, that is dedication. That's a lot to ask.
Or do you like us enough
to make our dreams come true even after we die and make us zombies?
Or enough to deal with us as we bring random women into our home who have strange esoteric issues?
Yeah. I don't think you like us that much, but come on, you gotta like us enough to subscribe, maybe hit the like button.
Probably not.
If you made it this far in the video.
Yeah, if you have listened to us ramble this long,
you either have had a stroke and it's still on and you can't turn it off,
or you are just hardcore dedicated and you should smash that like button.
And we thank you for it.
We thank you for your service and your patronage.
We will see you next week for the finale of basically the finale of 2018.